So we're back, and we just finished watching 2017's Lady Bird.
Rated R.
Rated R, and I have to be honest, I don't know how to feel about this movie.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat.
Me too.
I mean, I understand it was a coming-of-age tale of a teenage girl, so I guess it's not really geared to target a guy like me. You know? Usually with these types of stories where there's a young character who's going through their teenage years, there's usually something you could hook into, an overarching story, something going on. This movie, there was a lot of little things that were just sort of...
Didn't add up to anything.
Yeah, it was almost a little bit too true to life. And the fact that there wasn't any sort of like binding plot. I guess the closest thing you could call a binding plot would be Lady Bird or Christine, her desire to get out of Sacramento, get away from her overbearing mom, and go to college in New York. But there was so much other stuff going on that stuff was sort of just in the background. It wasn't really a focal point through most of that movie. Most of it was just Lady Bird
Day to day,
going through various aspects of her life. I mean, there was something going on with her first boyfriend that was sort of, okay, there it is, it's over now. And then there was the second pretentious boyfriend. It was like, okay, there it is, over. And then there was her relationship with her best friend. And it was like, okay, there it is, it's over. Oh, wait, something weird's going on. No, not really. We'll never explain why she was crying in that one scene.
Yeah.
What was the deal with her drama coach?
I don't.
Why did she see the mother? The mother was a nurse at a psychiatric hospital. Why was he even there? Why was she asking, do you have a support system? Why did he stop being the drama coach?
Why did you say don't tell your daughter?
Yeah, there was so many things, like little chunks that I felt were supposed to go somewhere
that didn't. Yeah.
That just didn't. And I guess that's true to life, but I kind of don't go to the movies to experience
more life.
Little chunks of nonsense, you know? I have enough chunks of nonsense going on in my life.
So, I was watching it, and I agree with you. I wasn't hooked with it at all. I mean, there were kernels of things that I felt like I could relate to, having been in that position. I had a very contentious relationship with my mother growing up, and so some of this spoke to me, but not enough to really get me into the story. And I think the performances were fantastic. I think all the actors in it were very, very good.
I agree. Everybody did a great job.
Yeah, they did a really great job. Nobody
seemed like they were just there to
phoning
push a
it
plot point.
Yeah, everything seemed like it was there for a reason, but
that's it. They were there for a reason, but you never got what that
reason was. Right. And I think it's funny because it's like, okay, is this one of those instances where the artist wants you to kind of draw your own conclusions or whatever? But I feel like you're doing this piece about, again, a coming of age, and I feel there's layers to this, obviously, right? It's coming of age. It's a girl who's desperately trying to break out of her mundane existence, which I think is a very important part of being a teenager, because, again, you're kind of in that holding pattern. You're not an adult. You're not a child, but you're not an adult. I think going to college is a big deal because it sort of validates you. And I think her wanting to go to the East Coast is a big step in that getting to independence phase. I didn't understand why she wanted to run away from Sacramento. I mean, if this was like in Ohio or Idaho, I think that would have made more sense. But I'm like, Sacramento? You're in like...
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know much about Sacramento either.
Sacramento is... Most people are like, why is that the capital of California? There's nothing really going on in Sacramento.
But still, it's California.
I know. But
I mean, I'm sure you can get in a car and go somewhere cool in Sacramento, whereas if you're in Duluth, there's nowhere to go except for the cornfield and maybe tipping cows. So that part I didn't understand
God.
to me, because I'm like,
Wait,
you're
wait.
part of the state in this country that generates the most income and could basically subsist by itself. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Wait, what if she wanted to leave because, her house, her parents didn't get a lot of money, and the house was pretty sad, and she liked that big blue.
Right. Well, I think that was a part of it, because remember when she had that fight with the mother, and the mother kind of threw that in her face, like, we thought that this was just going to be a starter home. We didn't anticipate being here for 25 years. And you've sort of, everything that we've done for you, but it's not enough for you. You want something more, and something that we can't give you. There's little glimpses like that. I thought was a very great scene, because I think that exchange is very relatable. There was that scene where Lady Bird sees the prescriptions and she asks her mother about it, and her mother's very nonchalant about it, like, oh, your dad gets depressed. And I thought that was also powerful, but again, not explored. It was just like a thing that happened. I mean, I gotta be honest, I was watching the film and I was like, is this where the father kills himself because he realizes he's worth more dead than alive and leaves them this insurance money? I don't know what I thought was gonna happen, but
that was the thing about the film. It's like real life, or most people's lives just don't have that level of drama in them. And that's why this film was like a very true slice of life, because it really didn't have that much drama. I gotta be honest, Lady Bird's life was not bad.
It really wasn't. So
she had two parents who were still together, who loved
each other, that loved them.
Her mother was domineering, but joined the club.
Right.
She had a brother who they had I wouldn't even say rivalry, but they would poke fun at each other or get on each other's nerves. Okay, another one joined the club.
Right.
She had her friends. She had her school.
It wasn't like she was like a misfit.
Yeah, she wasn't being abused. She
wasn't being bullied.
She wasn't like, being threatened by gangs, or her dad wasn't a drunk, and there really wasn't that much drama for her. In fact, you know what? In the beginning, she actually says something along those lines of that she wished that something would happen or something like that.
Right. Yeah,
and
I remember that.
That was based, and the mother was like, "Your life is happening."
Right. But I think that comes from, again, perspective. The mother's lived more of a life where she's had more experiences and stuff, so she's looking at it from a different vantage point. Lady Bird is obviously looking from her vantage point, which can be selfish, but you can't really blame Lady Bird. She's like 17 years old when this movie opens up. I mean, kids at 17, because they're still kids, let's be honest. They're not philanthropic, they're not.
It's all about them.
Exactly. Again, she's coming from this vantage point where she just desperately wants to leave where she is. She just wants to get out, which is weird, because it was like, I don't know what you're rebelling against.
I think it was just,
I mean, your mother is cool enough that she has your brother's girl living with you guys. I mean, she's obviously not a bad person. And when she asks her about like birth control, or what was it, about having sex? She said, I think Lady Bird asked her mother when it was okay. Her mother wasn't like some, she wasn't like a shrieking harpy, she wasn't like a shrieking harpy, like, oh my God, you have to wait till you're married, or something equally crazy. Yeah. So
Laurie Metcalf seemed very, I mean, she seemed reasonable. She was judgy. She was pretty judgy, and she was really, there was a point where she's like, where Lady Bird basically just says, do you like me?
Right.
And the mother cannot say it. She says, I love you.
Right.
Which is not the same thing.
Which is not the same thing.
And
right.
I think that was like another sort of like a theme of the whole thing, because you could love something and not like it. And that was true of what, basically like at the end when Lady Bird is describing Sacramento,
right,
she's pretty much describing her mother. Sacramento and Lady Bird's mother are the same
thing. Right.
She loves them, but she does not like them at all.
Right.
And I guess that was the message. Gracie actually picked this movie. What did you think, Gracie?
It wasn't what I expected.
What were you expecting it to be?
Better.
Better how?
I don't know. I just thought it'd be better.
Did you think it would be funny or what?
I don't know.
Well, I kind of agree. I mean, I'd heard so many good things about this movie, so and I'd never seen it before tonight, so I was curious, and I sort of feel let down. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like the actors did a great job. The script was okay. It wasn't.
There was, I mean, there
It was
wasn't any
just okay.
fantastic dialogue, but once again, real life doesn't come with fantastic
Sure, but I feel like for something like this, it's funny. We were talking about Stargirl, and we were comparing it to like the Hughes movies, and it's like there wasn't that poignant moment, and I feel like that was a missed opportunity here. Like there was kernels of it, like the speech that the girlfriend gives to Lady Bird about like your mom's cool and she loves you and you need to cut her some slack kind of speech. And the brother's girlfriend, and Lady Bird is so in her own head that she can't see past her own feelings and her own experiences. And I think with age and distance and time, like at the end, she calls her to say that she loves her, which I thought was interesting because, again, spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen it. I found the scene prior to that when she's going to the airport to get on the plane to go to the East Coast to go to college, where the mother still isn't speaking to her. I found that upsetting because here, or actually before that, the scene where she's doing the dishes, right? I'm sorry. That's the scene that I found upsetting more. Although I did find the thing at the airport upsetting, but I found the scene where she's doing the dishes and completely ignoring Lady Bird very upsetting, because Lady Bird, it's almost like seeing your child cry. She's so upset, and she kept saying, I know I'm bad. And I think I turned to you at one point, and I'm like, she's really not.
No, she did. She's
just a stupid. She got into a great school. She's just a stupid teenager, and you expect stuff like...
The mother wasn't upset about her for any stupid teenager stuff. She was upset at her for leaving.
Right, which isn't
Which
fair.
was just that's the mother's baggage. Right. And like the fact that Lady Bird was putting it upon herself that I'm the bad one.
No, she was mad at her because she
Lady
went
Bird.
to school without her mother even knowing.
No, she got waitlisted, but she told her mom that she got in.
No, I don't think she even told her mother that she applied.
She didn't tell her mother that she applied. Her mother, as far as her mother knew, the father never filled out any financial aid information, so there was no chance that she was going to go to a school all the way across the country.
Right.
But the thing is that she got put on the wait list, and then information got to the mother through the
ex-boyfriend, the first boyfriend. Right.
And that made the mother lose it.
Right.
Like she got really mad, and to the point where Lady Bird was like, "I know I'm a bad person. I know I'm bad." Which
really
was wrong.
Yeah, which
was
really messed
wrong.
me up, I think.
Because I mean, the mother should be supportive. I mean, I understand it's a hardship to put your kids through the school, and maybe she couldn't do it, but at least be supportive.
Right.
Not and especially don't let the kid think this is because I'm a horrible person.
Right. Exactly. Like, she didn't even bother to correct her.
No.
That was upsetting to me, too.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've had this conversation with you kids. Like, at some point, you will leave home. Dad and I will be an afterthought. And I'm not looking forward to it, but I understand that it could happen. I mean, my father left his country to come to this country for a better life. And he left everyone behind, his brothers, his sister, his parents. And that's a big step. That's a huge step. And as a parent, you want your children near you or close by, but it doesn't always work out that way. And I've made my peace that maybe you kids will go to a different country and stuff, and that's just what it is. So
I know or I remember situations, like especially with you, Gracie, where you did something wrong or something happened, and you would be pretty hard on yourself.
Yes.
You would say things that you were bad. You would say some pretty hard things to yourself.
Yeah.
And I would actually have to tell you, no, that's not true at all.
Right.
You hate me because I'm bad. I do bad things. This is when you were much younger. But I would never let you think that. I would make sure I told you right off the bat, no.
Yeah.
Don't you ever think that. Don't you ever think that we don't love you or that you are a bad child.
Yeah.
All of us know.
All of us even spoken.
Well, she said one thing, I think, or two things. But, I don't know. I feel like this is one of those movies that I need to digest. I really don't know how to feel about it. I feel like I wanted to like it more, and
I just don't feel any way about it. I don't feel really passionate, good or bad. Like I said, the performances were all good. I just don't think there was much of a story there. It was a slice of life. If that's your thing, if you like slices of life where nothing really major is going on, this is for you. It wasn't for me. It wasn't really funny, but then again, like I said, real life doesn't come with awesome dialogue and great jokes.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like this movie could have been better. It could have been something more. I think the exploration of relationships between mothers and daughters and that headbutting, I think that's a tale as old as time, and it could have been a better explored. I think the actors did a really phenomenal job with the script. I think the script just lacked a little, I don't know, it just lacked a little something. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. It wasn't like, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be like...
It was meandering.
It was very meandering.
It was a year in the life of a young girl who really didn't have it that bad, but thought she did.
Right.
And got what she wanted in the end, and that was it.
Yeah. I think the thing that upset me was the whole thing with the mother at the end. And it was funny because I didn't get that from her for the previous times in the movie. Even when the Laurie Metcalf character's kind of mean to Lady Bird, right?
She was very mean throughout the whole thing.
She was very judgy about how she walked across to get her diploma.
What the hell was that? And that was a happy moment.
Right. And the comment about, oh, well, you shouldn't have eaten the second bowl of pasta. Like, that was...
Yeah.
I mean, we live in such a superficial society. For someone to say that to their child, I don't comprehend.
A teenager.
Right. I don't comprehend that. And I've been on the receiving end of those kind of poisonous barbs and stuff. So there were scenes in here that I could relate to, but it just didn't pull me in as much as I wanted it to. I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunities. I mean, I think I agree with you. It's very much a slice of life, but maybe if they had focused on one thing, instead of having the first boyfriend, they could have just gone to the second pretentious boyfriend and just covered that angle. I don't know. They're just...
Yeah, the first boyfriend didn't lead anywhere.
He really didn't. I mean, there was interwoven things.
The thing was, it was basically first love, and it was a very innocent kind of love between the two of them, because it was never going to go anywhere. I guess it was just sort of there to set up almost like the first heartbreak, maybe.
Was she really heartbroken about him? I mean, she seemed like she was, but not really. I mean, she had a good cry about it, but... But then she moved on.
But that's the thing about this movie, is that there's no heavy stakes in any of this.
Yeah.
Like, never was there any point where I felt, oh my God, she's super passionate about this. Never was there any point where she was like really super passionate about pretty much anything. The only thing she really seemed to care about was going away to another school.
That was her.
And like I said, that was sort of just something that was like in the background not really a dominant storyline. She didn't really talk about it much with anybody. She spoke about it with her dad a couple of times. Wasn't really something she spoke about much with her friends or her boyfriends or anything.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like she's feverishly filling a montage of her filling out
Forms and writing
and
her college
applications,
essay.
writing her, yeah, it was just, oh, your college essay is interesting. Never once mentioned it. The only thing that was
Right,
interesting
you know
about
what?
the college essay was the nun was just like, you love Sacramento.
Sacramento. Yes, you know what? I picked up on that, and it was funny because when that scene happened, I'm like, did she get the papers mixed up? Because this child has been trying to leave here since she learned how to walk, kind of thing. That's the impression I got, right? That she just hated that place so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, like the nun said, you know, sometimes love and paying attention are the same thing.
True.
Because that's what Lady Bird referred to it as. She just pays attention.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what she felt her mom does. She just pays attention too much, maybe a little too much attention.
Yeah.
To me. But
I still feel like, I don't know, that those scenes after the graduation when the mother finds out about her and the East Coast schools, like that kind of deteriorated to me because she acted in a way that I don't think she would have acted. If anything, she would have had like righteous indignation. How dare you go behind my back and do this? If you think that I'm going to help you in any way, that's not going to happen. Instead, she just closes off. And that's not something that felt like this character was about. Like all of a sudden, she just iced her kid out. I don't think that her character would act in that way. Although, scene where she kind of has that epiphany and she drives back to go to the airport to say goodbye was interesting because she missed her and you could tell the
she
hurt.
Realized she made a mistake by letting her walk away.
Exactly. So see that's the thing. Like this movie had these certain like kernels of beauty, but it just wasn't enough to like really sustain the story.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just even now I'm just like baffled. I'm like I watch these things and I'm like, how could this have been better? And I really don't know. I feel like it was too much all over the place. I think I agree with you. I think it meandered a lot. And I think if they had just picked something, focused on it, workshopped it, followed it through, it would have been a more interesting...
I think it was good. Like I said, I think it was good if you like just a realistic slice of life. And that is a type of movie.
Yeah,
there are other films like that, but this definitely it hits the bullseye in that respect. It just doesn't. It's not something that I am so keenly interested in, and especially I guess with this character, she was an all right kid. I didn't really find anything too phenomenally interesting about her. I didn't find anything phenomenally interesting about her friends. It was such a slice of life. It was just... It showed you how boring life could be.
Dad's not wrong.
That's not wrong.
It was... Life isn't full of crazy drama. It's... Hell, you know what? I've also felt the opposite about... Or felt the same about the exact opposite sort of thing. Like when I'm watching some show on television... And everybody's life is just filled with high drama, you know?
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I despise Friends. I can't stand that show because it's just... Get the hell out of here. No, this is all bull crap. I know it's a comedy, but it's not even really funny.
It's not even funny.
Yeah.
I never understood. I don't understand people's obsession with that show. It's really not funny. Can't for the life of me understand it, and please don't explain it to me. I don't care enough. I feel like those characters were really boring.
I don't know. Let's wrap this up.
Yes, the kids are falling asleep.
Yeah, it's
All
11:30.
of this checked out already.
And
Yeah.
What 1 to 10, G? What do you think?
I think I'd give this
G.
6 3/4.
Come here.
6 3/4.
6 3/4. Look at you
A
with
little
those.
better than average.
I would give it. I was gonna say a 6. It wasn't the worst thing, but it wasn't great. Olive, 1 to 10.
4.
4.
Wow.
I don't really like it.
That's probably more where it needs to be.
I would. Yeah, I'd give it I'd say a 5, like 4.5 to 5. But if you're really into slice of life films where nothing significant happens,
Or interesting.
give it a 10.
And
It's
I
about
also
as
believe
middle of the road as you can get.
I also believe this is rated R. Did you? Oh, you mentioned that in the
Yes,
beginning.
rated R.
Rated R.
There's
There's cursing.
some cursing.
There's sexual
there's
situations.
Sexual situations.
Only if you.
There's also gore, according to IMDb's parental
According to
guide.
IMDb, yeah. At one point, she gets a nosebleed. So yeah, that's apparently gore.
Yeah, which is funny because the situation in which the nosebleed happens is not discussed, but the nosebleed is. So, probably not a movie for the under 13 set. Although we let our under
we let our
13s.
underage kids watch it because we're sitting there and guiding.
Yes, and again, it is I agree. It is a slice of life. These things happen, and we'll sit and talk about them after. But I don't know if I would recommend this movie, honestly.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna be recommending this to anybody.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad
Unless
I saw it.
I know they're into that sort of thing, but
Yeah.
Don't got anyone to recommend it to.
I'm glad I saw it, but I just don't need to ever see it again. I feel like this. I don't know.
there's nothing interesting going.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here, folks. All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.